speak English. She said some very profound things. Bahati's people come from Rwanda, but because of war, they fled to the Congo when she was born. Then war in Congo sent them back to Rwanda, and another war sent them to Tanzania. 15 years ago, she started a new life in Ohio, and 4 years ago, marriage brought her to Erie. Despite the challenges of war and learning a new culture, Bahati plants a garden every time she moves. She told us about her large garden in Tanzania. I had maize, tomatoes, eggplants, beans, carrots, and onions. I didn't buy any food except dagala, which is this tiny little fish. At the Quality of Life Center, her garden is in 2 sections. Next to the building, she has small white eggplants. She has a bigger plot in the back with sombe, which is cassava, lenga, which is amaranth, and burunda, which is a kind of African leafy green, and more white eggplants. She says her garden here is small. She wishes she had a bigger area. She said her garden helps her in 6 ways. It gives her exercise, it gives her healthy food to eat, it helps her heart, it makes her happy, she can share fresh food with her friends, and it is an inspiration to others. Bahati does not buy seeds. When her plants grow old, they make seeds and she puts them aside to use the next year. In fact, she does not have to buy anything for her garden. She freezes the greens so she can eat her greens all year long. She says, I don't stress out because food is here. If she had a bigger garden, she said she wouldn't sell produce. She wouldn't sell it, no. Instead, she would give more to her friends. She said, if you know how to grow food, you have freedom. Freedom to choose what to eat. Freedom to have money to spend on other things. And our last gardener, Mr. Abdiaziz. No, not our last gardener, our penultimate gardener. There we are. Abdiaziz. And that's Janine next to him, one of the authors of these stories.
And Janine and Abdiaziz and one of the other 5 students are 3 of the 4 positions that the county executive cut when he cut the Quality of Life Learning Center $50,000, and that had employed in that program 4 new Americans. A mother who cleans the building, has 10 children from West Africa. Abdiaziz Mene, who has 6 children, has been a farmer all his life. It's the first time he's ever had an opportunity to have a formal education is now that he's taking classes at the Quality of Life Learning Center. And Janine, who's also from a family of 6, who went and got a job cleaning at night so that she could have her own income. She's one of the 4 students that we have enrolled in Erie County Community College. But I guess that's the opportunity I get to plan Claudine today, that I can also share that kind of information with you, and why I think it reinforces how important a garden is. How important a garden is, and to the life of the students that we serve. So Mr. Abdiaziz Mene is from Somalia. He says, I had a farm in my country. My grandmother and my father taught me. I started to help when I was 5 years old. I started to learn how when I was 12. I helped carry water. I burned the grass to prepare the field. When I was 15, I was doing it all by myself. He was an independent farmer for 4 years before the war forced him to leave. He continues, in my country, we don't have tractors. We have to dig and harvest by hand. Everything by hand. If you don't know, everything is hard. We grew mangoes, papaya, bananas, lemons, grapes, all the African fruit. I also grew sweet corn and meal corn, potatoes, yams, cassava, sugarcane, and rice. My father had 250 hectares. It was huge, but he didn't have any tractors to do it. I think that made me acres, 250 acres. It was work. We sold the fruit. When the harvest was done, we brought the corn home. We dug the ground and put the corn in the ground to keep it safe until the rain starts. Then we took it out. We gave people jobs on our farm. It is his hope to make a small business from his garden. He wants to learn to grow fruit trees here too. Next is Mr. Musa Ahmad.
Yes, I'm gonna bring up that slide. Yes. Photo. There we go.
That's
Okay,
Abdiaziz.
yes, that's Abdiaziz.
There's Mr. Musa.
With Claudine.
Yes. And
And
one of the
Amina.
other students, Amina.
Yeah.
Okay. Musa Ahmad is from Eritrea, East Africa. He learned to grow things from his grandfather. He liked so much he studied agriculture in college. But the Civil War prevented him from having a career with farming, and he became a guerrilla soldier to fight for independence. Mr. Ahmad came to Erie about 21 years ago, and he had a garden every year since he came. He grows okra, pumpkin, tomato, peppers, and arugula. Now my agriculture is a small thing, but it is how I remember my country, my people, and my culture. I make a small garden, a small Eritrea, a small Africa in America. He says, look at all the people who live here that come from Africa. In Africa, we live from what we cultivate. Africans love land a lot. Everyone here has his own little African farm because agriculture is still our life. The city is nothing without farmers. Our life is in the hands of farmers and the hands of Africa. Although he wants his children and grandchildren to farm, he knows they spend their time with technology on the computer. He says, I tell them to buy a house with a lot of ground around it, but I do not say, be a farmer. I say, get a house outside the city. Then when they do, I say, what a big yard you have. Why don't you get some chickens? Mr. Ahmad has strong thoughts about being a new American in Erie. First, people need to know that I am not a parasite. I am raw material. If they use me, they will get a lot of things. They need to know I can work. He believes that the first problem between the new Americans and others is language, and the second is that many lack self-confidence. He says many think it is your English, if your English isn't good, you don't know anything. He believes that new Americans have a responsibility to show people what they do know. He also wants new Americans to use their roots as a resource, but not to live in the past. He says the past is like the roots of a tree. You can't put the roots in the air. You use them to make the future. You do something for the kids to make a good community. If you don't do this,